One of them is a brand new show. It'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern. The host, none other than Charles Blow. Charles is a New York Times columnist. He's a best-selling author. His latest, right there, The Devil You Know. It is a Black Power manifesto. And he's joining us live right now from Atlanta. Welcome to the show, Charles. Welcome to BNC.
Oh, thanks for having me, and congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much. One of the things I think we love about you, and the book, incredible, you're so unapologetic. And I think that's so important to so many people out there, not just Black and brown people, but all people. But the unapologeticness, where did that start for you? And was there fear in the beginning, or did you always just speak your mind?
Oh, that's a strange question. Hard question. I think that part of it, we all have fear. That's is important to say. The question is, how do you use it? Do you lean into fear, or do you retreat from it and fall back and shy away from it? And I think part of what I have learned over my life, growing up as a boy with not much, very poor, was that you didn't have a lot to lose by being honest and being direct. That you didn't have much to start with, so what was there to lose? And also, there's just an importance that has always been instilled in me to being forthright. And so that means that I bring that into my work.
Charles, first of all, welcome to the network. It is an honor and a pleasure to actually be a colleague. I've been a big fan of yours for a long period of time. Seeing you on other networks, but now you have your own show right here on this network. And as Sharon said, you're unapologetic, you're fearless. What's it mean to have the platform where you can say what you want to say, when you want to say it, and have the guest on that you want to actually talk to?
It's incredibly important and liberating in a way. I mean, the idea of being a commentator is fantastic, and I've made a lot of friends at other places that I've worked on television. But the idea of constantly being juxtaposed to people who are arguing against the things that you care about is draining. To be constantly juxtaposed with people who argue that an officer should have killed a Black man, who argue that the racism that you are talking about does not exist, or does not exist in the way that you see it. You know, that being able to talk about Black issues to Black people through the lens in which I see it is incredibly important to me, and is a gift and a blessing, and I am kind of humbled by it.
Well, you know, as Mike said, we can't wait for your show to start. If I can stay up that late, if not, I'll have to, DVR it, Charles. But the book, The Devil You Know, I want to know how deep it got writing it. And I've never written a book. The process in going there with this kind of book, what was it like for you? And what do you want people to know about it?
Well, the process is books, like they say, you open a vein and bleed onto the page. It is very painful to do. It's very difficult to do. I don't know how other people write books. I know there are some people who are very prodigious about this, and they produce a book every 2 or 3 years. That is not something I could ever possibly do. It is incredibly hard for me to do because the entire thing has to live in my head at some point for me to get it complete. I mean, that is word for word, line for line, and having an entire book in your head is difficult. But it's the only way I've figured out how to edit and move things around and make them make sense and figure out where the holes are to fill them. But what I wanted to make, the point I wanted to get across was that Black people have agency and power, and they can harness that power, and they can have real power, not just on a municipal level where you are the your majority in the city, or you have a Black mayor or police chief, but that you could have state power, because state power is half the power in this country. The Constitution sets aside half the power for the federal government, but in it, it literally says All powers that are not in here conferred to the federal government are reserved for the states. There's a reason that we call this the United States of America. It's a federalist system. So the idea that Black people could have real power on a state level was important for me to say and collect into one space. And it's not even like I'm the first to have this idea. Many people have had it before for hundreds of years, or at least over 100 years. But to bring it into now in the context of many of the things that Black people are protesting about and care about, whether it's mass incarceration, the justice system, or educational policy, or health policy, are largely controlled, or if not mostly controlled, on the state level. So you take a state, you change your reality.
And Charles, you're asking Black folks to migrate back down to the southern states to gain this political power that Black folks deserve there. First and foremost, I just got to be real with you. How do you convince a lot of Black folks to come back down south, where they still have these perceptions about the South? It's too country. It's a lot of racism going on. How do you convince them that, okay, it's actually good to migrate down south and not just to the city of Atlanta?
Well, the statistics help me to do that quite effectively. It paints the idea of racism as not being sectoral, but kind of ubiquitous in America. It's just the way that it's expressed is different. I asked the people at the Project Implicit they've done all these online tests, hundreds of thousands of them, to test implicit bias across the country. I told them, just cut that data for me by race and by region. And they found that there was almost no difference in the amount of pro-white, anti-Black bias between people in the South and those in the North and the Midwest. And that shows up in policy. People talk a lot about how southern states incarcerate more people, but when I asked specifically about Black people and incarceration, and when you just look at Black incarceration, just the per capita data, meaning of the Black people you have, what percentage of them do you incarcerate? The top of that list is states in the North and Midwest and West. In fact, Vermont is at the top of that list. They incarcerate 1 out of every 15 Black men in that state. If you look at that on a city,
Charles,
level, yes.
I'm sorry. Hold your thought right there. We got to take a quick break. We want you to stick around though, because we want you to complete your thoughts. We want to talk to you some more about that. Talk to you about Trump and CPAC, and of course all the protests that still should be going on across the nation. We got to take a quick break and pay some bills, but we'll be right back as we start your day on BNC. Charles Blow will join us on the other side.